There are some stories that stay with you long after you hear them, not because they involve monsters, but because they really happened. Real people, real places, real final moments. Tonight, we're diving into terrifying true stories that continue to disturb investigators, families, and anyone unlucky enough to hear them. Stories of people who vanished without explanation, phone calls that were never fully understood, and final words that still haunt those who heard them. So turn the lights off, make sure your doors are locked, and let's begin. Story 1. The 911 Call. In December of 2006, a woman named Teresa was home alone in her small apartment. It was late, past midnight. Outside, freezing rain tapped against the windows while the entire neighborhood sat silent. Teresa had just finished watching television when she heard something strange. 3 knocks. Not loud, not aggressive, just slow. Knock, knock, knock. At first, she ignored it, but then it came again, this time louder. She walked toward the front door and looked through the peephole. Nobody. The hallway outside her apartment was completely empty. Now unsettled, Teresa stepped back and locked the deadbolt again, just to be safe. A few minutes later, she heard footsteps above her ceiling. That wasn't possible. She lived on the top floor. The footsteps continued, slow pacing, back and forth, directly above her. Then suddenly, silence. Teresa grabbed her phone and called 911. The operator answered calmly, asking what the emergency was. At first, Teresa sounded embarrassed. She explained the knocking, the footsteps, the strange feeling that someone was inside the building. The operator asked if she had checked the apartment thoroughly. Teresa said yes. Then the operator asked a question. "Ma'am, are you alone right now?" There was a pause, and Teresa answered softly, "I thought I was." The operator immediately heard something else on the line, a faint sound, breathing. Not Teresa's breathing, another person. The operator asked if someone was in the apartment with her. Teresa whispered, "I don't know." Then came a noise from the kitchen, a metallic clatter, like someone bumping into a pan. Teresa gasped. The operator told her to leave immediately, but before she could move, a man's voice suddenly whispered near the phone, "She can't." The call disconnected. Police arrived within minutes. The apartment door was still locked from the inside. Teresa was gone. No signs of forced entry, no blood, no evidence of a struggle, nothing. The only thing investigators found was Teresa's phone lying on the kitchen floor. The case remains unsolved to this day. And according to the 911 operator, there was one detail she never forgot. Right before the line cut out, she heard Teresa screaming from very far away, as if she had been dragged somewhere impossible. Story 2. The camping trip. In 2013, 4 friends decided to go camping deep inside the forests of northern Canada. No cell service, no nearby roads, just miles of trees. The group planned to stay for 3 nights. The first day went perfectly. Fishing, bonfire, drinking. But on the second night, one of the friends woke up around 3 a.m. to hear footsteps circling the tent. Crunch, crunch, crunch. At first he assumed it was an animal, but then he realized something terrifying. The footsteps sounded human, and they were moving slowly around the tent, in perfect circles. He woke the others. Everyone stayed silent, listening. The footsteps continued for almost 10 minutes. Then they stopped directly outside the entrance. One of the campers nervously called out, "Hello?" No response, just silence. Then came a voice, a woman's voice, soft, calm. "Can you let me in?" The group froze. There were no campsites nearby for miles, and something about the voice felt wrong. One camper later said it sounded like someone pretending to sound human. Another voice followed, this time deeper. Please. Nobody moved. Eventually, the footsteps returned, circling the tent again before disappearing into the forest. None of them slept. At sunrise, they searched outside and immediately found something disturbing. Footprints, bare human footprints, completely surrounding the tent. But every print faced the tent the entire time, meaning whoever made them had walked in circles while staring directly at them for hours. The group packed immediately and left. But the story gets worse. On the drive home, one of the campers checked the footage from a GoPro they had mounted near the fire. Most of the night was normal. Until around 3:12 a.m. The camera captured movement between the trees, a pale figure standing completely still in the darkness, watching the tent, then slowly smiling. The footage was eventually handed to authorities. No one was ever identified, and the original video reportedly disappeared after being uploaded online years ago. Story 3. The Elevator. A security guard working the night shift at an office building in Seoul shared a story online that quickly spread across the internet. At around 2 a.m., he noticed one elevator repeatedly stopping on the 14th floor. The problem was, nobody worked on 14 anymore. The entire floor had been abandoned after water damage months earlier. Still, the elevator kept stopping there, again and again and again. Thinking it was a malfunction, the guard checked the security cameras. The elevator doors would open on the empty floor, wait several seconds, then close. But during one trip, something changed. As the doors opened, the guard noticed a figure standing at the very end of the hallway. Tall, motionless. The image quality was poor, but it looked like a woman. Long black hair covering her face. The guard assumed someone had broken in. So he took the service elevator up to the 14th floor. When he arrived, the hallway was empty. No sounds, no movement, just darkness. Then he heard the elevator behind him ding. The doors opened. Empty. But as he stepped toward it, he noticed something on the reflective metal doors. A handprint, fresh, pressed from the inside. He immediately entered the elevator and hit the lobby button. As the doors began closing, he looked back down the hallway and saw the woman standing there again. Closer this time. Much closer. The guard quit 2 days later. But according to employees in the building, the elevator still occasionally stops on the abandoned floor late at night, even when nobody presses the button. Story 4. The phone call from the dead. In 2008, a man named Richard lost his younger brother in a motorcycle accident. The funeral was held 3 days later. Family members gathered at the house afterward, grieving and sharing stories. At around 11 p.m., Richard's phone rang. The caller ID displayed his brother's name. Everyone assumed it was some kind of network error, but Richard answered anyway. At first, there was only static. Then came breathing. Heavy breathing. Richard repeatedly asked who was there. No response. Then finally, a voice. Weak, distorted.
Richard.
He nearly dropped the phone. It sounded exactly like his brother. The voice continued.
It's cold.
Then the line went dead. Phone records later confirmed the call had come from his brother's actual phone. The problem? The phone had been locked inside police evidence storage since the accident. No outgoing calls had supposedly been made. Years later, Richard still refuses to talk publicly about the incident. But one detail leaked online from someone close to the family. According to Richard, there was another sentence spoken on the call, one he never told investigators. Right before the line disconnected, the voice whispered, "They were waiting for me." Some people say every story has an explanation, a stranger outside the tent, a glitch in the elevator, a crossed phone signal. But sometimes the explanations don't quite fit, and maybe that's what makes these stories truly terrifying. Because somewhere out there, there are moments nobody can explain. If you enjoyed tonight's stories, subscribe for more true horror and disturbing real-life mysteries. And before you go, check your locks one more time. Because some things don't stay buried.